This is a tale of electrical contractors who took decisive action to ensure they were paid for their work on a regional mole project built on a toxic waste site. The developer, known for unethical practices, including evading zoning regulations and stiffing contractors, was nearing the grand opening of the mole. The electrical contractors, aware of the developer's reputation, anticipated potential payment issues. The mole's electrical service was still operating under a temporary permit issued in the contractors' names. This permit was the key to their leverage. Days before the scheduled opening, the contractors arranged a meeting with the developer and the power company representative responsible for the electrical hookup. The contractors presented their demand. They wanted a certified check for the full amount owed immediately. They explained that if their demand wasn't met, they would withdraw the temporary permit. The power company representative confirmed that without the permit, the power company would be obligated to disconnect the electrical service. Reinstating the service would require a full inspection and a new permit, a process that could take weeks. Moreover, the developer would need to find a licensed electrical contractor willing to take on the project, a difficult task given his reputation. Faced with the prospect of a delayed opening and significant financial losses, the developer reluctantly agreed to the contractor's terms. The contractors received their certified check, becoming the only ones on the project to be paid in full. Other contractors likely spent years pursuing payment through legal channels, often dealing with bankrupt or shell companies. One version of the story has a developer punching the walls out of anger. In the context of electrical work and payment security, there are several key considerations. Firstly, it is essential to thoroughly research the client's reputation and financial stability before starting a project. Check their payment history, reviews from other contractors, and any available financial information. Secondly, clearly define the scope of work, payment terms, and schedule in a written contract. This contract should include milestones for partial payments and consequences for late or non-payment. Thirdly, explore options for securing payment, such as requiring a performance bond or payment bond from the client. These bonds provide financial protection in case of default. Fourthly, consider using a mechanic's lien, which gives you a legal claim against the property if you are not paid for your work. Fifthly, maintain detailed records of all work performed, materials used, and communication with the client. This documentation will be crucial if you need to pursue legal action. Sixthly, consider using a third-party escrow service to hold funds until the work is completed and approved. Seventhly, communicate regularly with the client about the project's progress and any potential payment issues. Early communication can help prevent misunderstandings and resolve disputes before they escalate. Eighthly, consult with an attorney specializing in construction law to review your contracts and advise you on your legal rights and options. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides standards for electrical installations to ensure safety and proper function. While the NEC does not directly address payment issues, it's essential to adhere to its requirements to avoid potential code violations that could delay project completion and affect payment. Specific articles within the NEC are relevant to ensuring proper electrical installations, and following these standards is part of fulfilling your contractual obligations. The 2017 NEC, which is likely the applicable version, contains numerous articles relevant to the electrical work in a mall setting. Some of these articles include Article 110, which covers requirements for electrical installations, including workmanship, equipment ratings, and access to working space. Article 210 addresses branch circuits, covering the requirements for installing branch circuits for lighting, receptacles, and appliances. Article 215 pertains to feeders, outlining the requirements for feeders supplying power to branch circuits. Article 220 deals with branch circuit, feeder, and service calculations, providing methods for calculating the load on electrical systems. Article 225 covers outside branch circuits and feeders, addressing installations outside buildings. Article 230 outlines service requirements, including the service entrance, grounding, and disconnecting means. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding, providing requirements for grounding electrical systems to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Article 300 contains general wiring methods addressing the installation of wiring and cables. Article 310 covers conductors for general wiring, including ampacity and installation requirements. Article 314 addresses junction boxes, pole boxes, and handhole enclosures. Article 392 pertains to cable trays, outlining the requirements for installing cable trays. Article 400 covers flexible cords and cables, addressing their use and installation. Article 406 covers receptacles, cord connectors, and attachment plugs. Article 408 addresses switchboards and panel boards, outlining their construction and installation requirements. Article 410 pertains to luminaires, lamp holders, and lamps. Article 430 covers motors, motor circuits, and controllers. Article 440 addresses air conditioning and refrigeration equipment. Article 445 covers generators. Article 450 pertains to transformers. Article 480 addresses storage batteries. Article 500 through 516 covers hazardous locations, addressing installations in areas where flammable gases, vapors, or dust may be present. Article 517 covers healthcare facilities. Article 518 addresses assembly occupancies such as theaters and auditoriums. Article 520 pertains to theaters, motion picture and television studios, and similar locations. Article 547 covers agricultural buildings. Article 550 addresses mobile homes, manufactured homes, and mobile home parks. Article 551 pertains to recreational vehicles and recreational vehicle parks. Article 600 covers electric signs and outline lighting. Article 604 addresses manufactured wiring systems. Article 605 pertains to office furnishings. Article 620 covers elevators, dumbwaiters, escalators, moving walks, platform lifts, and stairway chair lifts. Article 625 addresses electric vehicle charging systems. Article 626 covers electrochemical equipment. Article 640 pertains to audio signal processing, amplification, and reproduction equipment. Article 645 addresses information technology equipment. Article 646 covers modular data centers. Article 647 pertains to sensitive electronic equipment. Article 660 addresses X-ray equipment. Article 665 covers induction and dielectric heating equipment. Article 668 pertains to electrolytic cells. Article 669 addresses electroplating. Article 670 covers industrial machinery. Article 675 pertains to electrically driven or controlled irrigation machines. Article 680 addresses swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations. Article 682 pertains to natural and artificially made bodies of water. Article 685 covers integrated electrical systems. Article 690 addresses solar photovoltaic systems. Article 692 pertains to fuel cell systems. Article 694 addresses wind electric systems. Article 700 covers emergency systems. Article 701 pertains to legally required standby systems. Article 702 addresses optional standby systems. Article 705 covers interconnected electric power production sources. Article 708 pertains to critical operations power systems. Article 720 addresses circuits and equipment operating at less than 50 volts. Article 725 covers Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 remote control, signaling, and power-limited circuits. Article 727 addresses instrumentation tray cable type ITC. Article 760 pertains to fire alarm systems. Article 800 covers communications circuits. Article 810 addresses radio and television equipment. Article 820 pertains to community antenna television and radio distribution systems. Article 830 covers network-powered broadband communications systems. Article 840 addresses premises-powered broadband communications systems. These articles cover a wide range of electrical installations and are intended to ensure safety and proper functioning of electrical systems. While understanding and adhering to the NEC is crucial, contractors also need to protect their financial interests. The story of the electrical contractors highlights the importance of taking proactive measures to ensure payment for services rendered. It serves as a reminder that sometimes unconventional tactics are necessary to protect your business interests. Remember, a well-defined contract, a thorough understanding of your client, and a willingness to assert your rights are essential tools for success in the construction industry. Firstly, verify the toxic waste status of the site to ensure all wiring methods and equipment comply with applicable regulations for hazardous locations, and that workers have proper personal protective equipment. Secondly, ensure that all electrical work complies with NEC requirements for grounding and bonding to prevent electrical hazards in a potentially corrosive environment. Thirdly, provide adequate overcurrent protection for all circuits to protect against potential faults and overloads that may arise from equipment malfunctions or environmental factors. Fourthly, use appropriate wiring methods and materials that are suitable for the specific environmental conditions present on the site, such as moisture, chemicals, or extreme temperatures. Fifthly, conduct thorough inspections and testing of all electrical installations to verify compliance with the NEC and ensure safe operation. Sixthly, maintain detailed records of all electrical work performed, including material specifications, test results, and any deviations from the NEC. Seventhly, provide adequate training to all electrical workers on the specific hazards associated with working on a toxic waste site and the necessary safety precautions. Eighthly, develop an emergency action plan in case of electrical accidents or hazardous material releases, and ensure that all workers are familiar with the plan. Ninthly, coordinate with other trades involved in a construction project to ensure that electrical work is integrated safely and effectively with other systems. Tenthly, obtain all necessary permits and approvals from local authorities before commencing any electrical work on the site. As a note, proper planning, preparation, and execution are vital to getting paid and making the project a success.